Whew. Alright. That was an awesome game.
It was an awesome game indeed, Nitsa. So hello everybody, Nitsa Gamer here, and welcome to the commentary to the top 7 worst things in Sonic Mania. So just to give an explanation, I pretty much did a commentary for my first 3 Sonic countdowns about a year later after I released them, so figures I would do it for this one as well. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, I did pretty much 4 top 7 Sonic countdowns, mainly 3 as one of them was a 2-parter. But yeah, essentially the first one was the Sonic 06, second one was Rise of Lyric, and third one was Sonic Mania. So anyways, I'm going to be giving my commentary and explanations for all the goof-ups I make in this and whatever, but whatever. So yeah, we get this intro, and while a lot of people have complained that the first 5 minutes are just entirely pointless and whatever, I think this one only lasts for about a minute. Yeah, just about a minute when I say, but that doesn't mean it's flawless before it cuts to the this title card of my name and whatever. But anyway, a lot of people are saying that I drag it out and take forever to get to my number 7 point. I don't. Come on. It's I have to pretty much clarify that the game is critically acclaimed and all that, and I was doing it in a humorous way to be the one who dared to say that it has flaws in it and whatever. And of course give, like, you know, the backstory and explanation on Christian Whitehead and all that, because not everybody is going to know the backstory behind Sonic Mania. Some people are just going to think that Sonic Mania is going to be, like, you know, this game that recreates the old classic side-scroll Sonic games, but not know the backstory to what these 3 companies were and whatever. But anyways, I will defend my first 5 minutes for how long it takes for me to get to my number 7 point, even though the majority of people complain for how long it takes. But I feel like it's important to at least set not only the tone, but also set pretty much all the info on the backstory of the game, so that way you can see the bigger picture for what it is and such, as well as the satire that I will talk about once we get to it. But yeah, I could definitely say, even though I created, you know, a worse countdown for this game, I really do like this game. At first, it was definitely in my top 5 favorite Sonic games of all time, but I will definitely say it's top 10, not top 5, because I definitely like the 2 Sonic Adventure games as my top 2 games, Sonic Adventure 2 being number 1 and Sonic Adventure 1 being number 2. And, yeah, I could definitely say that I can list, you know, at least 7 Sonic games that are better than Sonic Mania, in my opinion. But, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I will defend this intro for how long people say it is and whatever. And seriously, through 30,000 subscribers? I don't know how much T-Lopes has now, or if I used an account that wasn't his, but whatever the case, it's pretty awesome that, you know, fans in general pretty much got to contribute to this project. In fact, I think one often misconception is that people look at this as more as an official fan game by Sega and whatever. But the thing is that you can't really say that Christian Whitehead was really a fanboy. Like, he started off as a fanboy, started off with fan games, but before that, he made iOS ports, you know, after Sonic CD. Like, he made the iOS ports for Sonic 1, 2, and 3, and all that. So technically he's been part of the Sega company, so to say that he is a fan that made a game and whatever is kind of a misconception. But whatever the case, it's still pretty awesome that we even get a game like Sonic Mania, with the arguable argument that, of course, it's practically priding on nostalgia and whatever, which is pretty much what I try to satirize here, where there's obviously those fans that like to get into, like, the prejudice that, oh yeah, Sonic was only good in the 2-dimension and whatever, and, you know, when Sonic was revolutionary at the time, just because it's dated, suddenly all 3D Sonic games were bad. Like, I have no idea, but around the time that Sonic Adventure 2 was released, or not Sonic, no, around the time that Rise of Lyric was released, for some reason there was, like, a huge chunk of people that actually started to say that Sonic Adventure 2 was a pretty bad game, which is, you guys, it's my favorite game of all time. And then, of course, I forget at what point people start to admit this, but some people were starting to say that Sonic Colors was a bad game. And I will definitely say I'm one of those people that find Sonic Colors overrated, and I did find it boring for the most part, but it is a good game. It is a good game, but not one of my top 10 favorites or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I still have yet to play every single Sonic game to really determine what my top 10 favorite Sonic games are. And yeah, this character I satirize, the voice that I give had really, really killed my throat. In fact, so much, I actually do make fun of it later on where I'm like, you know, that guy is bound to have a sore throat for a week. Definitely not a week. It lasted for like maybe 5 freaking months, all the way to like late March or something, that I had a sore throat. And it was definitely one of the major reasons why I didn't get my Sonic Forces review out. In fact, by the time I release this video, I still haven't got the damn review out. And of course, you know, November 7th is the release date for Sonic Forces. So, you know, when am I going to release the Sonic Forces review? And I think I'm going to make some sort of like Patreon exclusive or something for part 1 or something like that. And then, you know, wait in anticipation until I finally finish part 2. Because, yeah, part 1 is the non-spoiler review and part 2 is the spoiler review. And, it's kind of unfortunate where Sonic is kind of gone because, you know, I talk about this game where I'm one of those people that dare say it had flaws, you know. I mean, there's people that definitely do find Sonic Mania overrated. I don't find it overrated. It's just, it's not like the best thing that has ever happened to Sonic and all that because really, the majority of what it is pretty much just reimagining pretty much what we've already been through, you know, Lava Reef, Green Hill, Stardust Speedway, etc., you know. And as I say with my number 7 point, you know, there's not a lot of originality. Now, I know some people are saying that's the point, and it's, you know, it's called Sonic Mania because it's pretty much celebrating, you know, the old days and whatever. So it makes sense to have, like, the majority of the classic, you know, zones and whatever. And, you know, I you know, a fair argument and whatever. It's just, I would have liked to see a lot more originality within it, and there's definitely originality for sure. In fact, it's pretty awesome that we get to play as Mighty and Ray in the Sonic Mania Plus in Encore mode, which of course wasn't released by the time I made this countdown, so you don't see me talking about anything revolving around Mighty Ray or Encore mode. And yeah, I probably should address what my opinion is on Encore mode or Sonic Mania Plus. I do have mixed feelings about it, but I don't recommend to get it. It is actually a pretty good DLC for the most part, but it's essentially just rehashing the exact same stages, except on harder difficulty, and you get to play as Mighty and Ray. And there's a character switch system, and then there's a harder version of, like, collecting emeralds and such, and doing a pinball machine. Like, there's enough variety to make it, you know, at least worth your money, but it's still kind of rehashed in a way, so it's not... It doesn't offer a lot, to be honest. Like I would still definitely go and buy it, you know, just to play with Mighty and Ray alone. Because honestly, I think the 3 best things in the Sonic Mania Plus was being able to play as Mighty and Ray. In fact, Ray is actually pretty awesome once you know how to control his flying. And for the fact that what was the other part? I'm blanking out on what the other thing is. I mean, the slot machine's kind of cool and all that, but I don't know. I think you mostly want to get it just to play as, you know, Mighty and Ray, and I guess play a harder version of the stages and whatever. But aside from that, it's practically playing the same game over again, just with 2 extra characters and whatever. So I do have mixed feelings on, like, Sonic Mania Plus, and as you can probably see, there's even companies who dared to say mixed feelings, and everybody was throwing the shit on Twitter, like, how dare they say the good game has a bad DLC, even though they were pretty average about it and whatever. And I really hate the prejudice that Sonic fans just seem to have. Like as soon as someone criticizes something in Sonic Mania, it's blasphemy. Because yeah, that was actually something that I pretty much satirized, you know, with the fan character at the beginning and whatever. You know, unfortunately that prejudice exists, but you know, you kind of just have to live with it. So. Anyway, this number 6, surprisingly not many people talked about it. I guess either because they ignored it, or they actually agree with the points, or they have no idea what epileptic seizures are. So, yeah, just a warning that the medals are going to spin. So any of you who have epileptic seizures, just close your eyes for like 20 seconds. But yeah, those rotating medals, even just looking at them, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, that will definitely trigger me into an episode if I had, like, you know, episodes or seizures and such like that. I mean, I know Sonic is a fast character, and it's not really the type of game to show to someone with, you know, epilepsy and whatever, but, you know, because I have, like, a sibling that, and when I added this part showing that, you know, this isn't Sonic CD, it's at last minute that I even have a grammar error during the recording. But anyways, you know, I'm more aware of this sort of thing because one of my siblings has it and whatever, and well, it does trigger for multiple reasons, not just with flashing lights or unsettling imagery. It could also be like, you know, stress and whatever. And honestly, when you're going through that, I could definitely see that trigger in an episode within someone who has, like, you know, epilepsy or something similar to that condition and whatever. And I feel like, you know, it needed to be addressed, so that way if Sega is trying to look to get a fresh audience, especially for, like, you know, the classic era of Sonic games and whatever, you know, this is not the imagery to be shown in a video game. And while some people have definitely debated this is not a problem, as I say here, it's not a problem for me, but it will be a problem for any other people. And because I have a sibling who has seizures, you know, I'm more aware of this sort of thing rather than a thing that affects me or offends me. And it's also a reason why I put it low on the list, because it's not going to affect everyone. And yeah, number 5 point, I think, is the boss fight. This is definitely the most controversial part, or not controversial because not many people commented about it, but I have, like, this one friend who says that he occasionally watches my Sonic Mania countdown because he finds Sonic Mania to be mostly overrated, even though he does like the game overall. But he says that, dude, heavy gunner is not an issue whatsoever. And as I said, it's a point that I would reevaluate over time, and for the most part, I would definitely reevaluate to the point that this boss fight is really not difficult at all, honestly. I mean, as I said, difficulty is not the main problem. It's just, like, the momentum just feels very off. Like, you're trying to land on the missiles, and it just feels very off. And, you know, they don't give a clear direction on how drop dashing works, and when I tried to see if drop dashing would work, as you can see in my Sonic Mania Plus part when I do Encore mode in Studiopolis, it just doesn't seem very effective. Like, the drop dash just doesn't you know, work for me as much. And, you know, it takes a while to actually figure out how to even do the drop dash. That you have to look up, how was I supposed to do drop dash? And, you know, you see me doing the drop dash thing when I do my playthrough on Sonic Mania Plus, but you don't see me do it throughout all my Let's Play on the main game itself and whatever. But people say that, you know, this boss is a good example of, you know, how to show how the drop dash works, but it really doesn't work. It only just makes you skid a few pixels ahead, and that's it. The drop dash is worthless in this boss fight, and it's honestly very sloppy how it's done. One hit and you're down to 0 reigns. So it can be very easy to lose here. And honestly, I do find this boss fight still pretty sloppy, but I can get through it without dying. As I said, difficulty is not the main issue. It's the momentum and how the drop dash is 100% useless in that boss fight that honestly just makes it worse. You know, I mean, I don't know what Christian or the creators intended when making this boss fight, or how this was supposed to function properly and whatever, but whatever their intentions were, it just isn't fully realized here. And people just don't seem to have a problem with it, likely because they don't even die during the boss fight, which, as I said, difficulty is not the main issue. It's just the mechanic of drop dashing and, of course, you know, the momentum of actually landing on the goddamn missiles, you know, is such a pain in the ass and whatever. But if I did have to say a follow-up of who is possibly worse, I would definitely say Mega Octus. Because if you watched my Let's Play when I was going through ocean, oil ocean, yeah, I practically killed this boss fight almost instantly because I also had Tails with me, so it was really not much of a problem. But when I was playing through that boss fight again as just Sonic alone, Tails and Knuckles, you know, by themselves, holy crap, is Mega Octus arguably a ridiculously hard boss fight. But as I said, hardness and difficulty is not a main issue as long as like a certain mechanic is not polished enough. And I felt like Heavy Gunner was not polished as a boss fight and whatever. But yeah, if you disagree with that point, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I mean, I'm not asking you to agree with these points and whatever. But anyways, this is like arguably the most controversial thing on this countdown. Not for the fact that I chose Titanic Monarch as my number 4 point, but how I pronounce it. I pronounce it as Titanic Minarch. And while Titanic Minarch isn't necessary... Yeah, I pronounce it as Titanic Minarch, not just through this point, but through the entire countdown and even in my Let's Play of the game. I pronounce it as Titanic Minarch as opposed to Titanic Monarch. And it's like the #1 comment that I get every time I check the comments on this video, like, yeah, this video is good, but it really bothers me that he keeps pronouncing Monarch wrong. So, why the hell am I pronouncing Titanic Monarch wrong? Why am I pronouncing a simple word wrong? Well, the thing is, English is my first and only language, so what's my excuse? And I do have reasons for it. One, it's not a word that I hear a lot. You know, I hear king, queen, emperor, pharaoh, or whatever. But when it comes to monarch, admit it, you don't hear monarch as much as, say, Kane or whatever. Heck, even the enemy himself is named Heavy Kane or Phantom Kane when you get the true boss fight and whatever. You know, he has the word Kane in his title, so why is this level not called Titanic Kane? If this was called Titanic Kane, this level, then I would not have those comments whatsoever. But yes, it's, oh man, it's really draining seeing, like, constantly being reminded that I spell, or that I say Titanic Monarch wrong and whatever. And, you know, the other reason, other than not hearing it a lot, is that it just rolls off the tongue better, saying Minarch. And I guess because it just, you know, sounded, you know, right, I just didn't bother looking up to make sure I was pronouncing it right and whatever. Because it's not like the characters say it in here. There's no voice acting in these games and whatever. So, you know, it's not like, you know, the word is there for you to go, oh, that's how we're supposed to pronounce it. In fact, the majority of people pronounce Zavok as Zavok, even though in Sonic Forces, you know, he's pronounced as Zavok and whatever. And yeah, Zavok would be the logical name and whatever because it has the O in Zavok's name and whatever, but we all pronounce him as Zavok. And some people have said, how come you don't know you were supposed to hit the eye on this boss? This boss was back in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I didn't play all of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Even as of now, I still have yet to beat the most of the classic games. In fact, I still have yet to even play Sonic CD. But now that I have a working computer and I play a lot of games on Steam, like I've been playing a lot of games that I haven't really catched up on, such as Hitman Absolution, Hitman Blood Money, The Forest, Grand Theft Auto 5, and a bunch of other various games, including Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. You know, I'll definitely play the originals at least on my computer and definitely try to at least beat the classic games, but definitely one of the major reasons is that I just didn't really have the time or patience to go through a game that obviously had a harder difficulty compared to the 3D games and whatever, you know, when I was a kid. But also for the fact that I have to go between school and work, I just don't have enough time to play these games as much as a lot of other people do and whatever. And of course, where was I going with this? God, I forget what the heck I was talking about. Shit. What was I talking about? Damn it. Oh yeah, and another reason why I didn't beat the classic games is because the first two don't have a save to it. And yeah, I know there's a save on the iOS, but the iOS controls control like shit, honestly. And yeah, this is an interesting behind the scenes aspect where I bring in this masked figure, like, I mock the fanboy and whatever, and then just find out that he's killed. Like, I want to be at least shocking in this moment here. Like, it's not absolutely gory, but I definitely want to bring the shock within this one scene, and, yeah. I'm glad people were mature to the reactions to this scene so far. So yeah, what is my reason for bringing this character into this countdown and whatever? And the answer for that is that this is a character that I was planning to have in the countdown I was originally going to make. Like, I did, the top 7 good things in Sonic 06, and then I released it just a couple days after Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric came out, and once I figured, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric was the next horrible Sonic game ever made and whatever, I logically had to do a 2-part countdown talking about the worst things since it's still new, and, since the sales were poor, I had to, acknowledge what those particular flaws were, including my unpopular point that a lot of people seem to agree on, which is how they poorly portray Sonic in that game, particularly the scene where he traps Lyric for God who knows how long and whatever, which doesn't represent the heart of who Sonic is and whatever. And, I had to address the flaws first in order to purposely raise, the hate and depression of how bad Rise of Lyric was, so when I get to the good stuff and the message at the end, it felt all the more stronger. So after I completed the Rise of Lyric countdown, my next possible countdown was going to be Shadow the Hedgehog, which I still have not done yet, but is going to be coming sometime after I do the Sonic Forces review, after I finish that. And yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog was going to be next, and I do have a full plan of how I'm going to approach it. But once Sonic Mania came around and this was like, this game got critical acclaim and whatever, I thought, what, maybe it might be fun actually addressing the flaws in this game. So I essentially just decided to do, the top 7 worst things in Sonic Mania. And this countdown only took me a month a month to make. It did take me 2 months to finally finish my Let's Play and whatever, because I was busy with other stuff, including work and a few technical issues during the development of my Let's Play when I was recording this game and such. And yeah, it's just yeah. But yeah, essentially I was going to do a Shadow the Hedgehog countdown next, but then I decided to do this countdown next after that, and since Sonic Forces was coming out, I had a feeling that it was going to be polarized at the end, considering how people were criticizing the gameplay. Some people are just saying, just wait until the final release, geez, and the other people saying, oh, this is all linear gameplay and whatever, this is absolute shit and such. And logically I just had to talk about Sonic Forces, but I knew I was not going to do Sonic Forces as a top 7 countdown. I had to do it as a review. And of course, as I'm doing it as a review, I acknowledge that it is a polarized game, because a lot of people seem to make the assumption that because a lot of the big names seem to hate it and whatever, that it's a horrible Sonic game, like the worst thing in existence, like Sonic would be crawling in his grave right now. And people seem to overreact it, because when you really do look at the reviews, it's mixed and average. So some people felt average about Sonic Forces, and there were some people who legitimately loved it and some people who downright despised it. Me personally, I actually really liked Sonic Forces, even though there are big issues with it. I give it a 7 out of 10. I actually really did like Sonic Forces, and I definitely hope with me having more positive things to say in my Sonic Forces review that it gives, a good voice to the people who did like the game, but it also shows people, why we like the game, but it also dives into, the whole polarizing aspect and how stressful it can be and whatever. But, yeah, definitely anticipate the Sonic Forces review when I eventually release that. Now, anyways, my number 3 point, the Blue Sphere stages. I've played more of this, and I still don't like it, guys. I'm sorry, I don't like these Blue Sphere stages and whatever. And, oh yeah, there's one point during that part where I say, do these blue steer stages have zero value to exist? I mispronounce value in a way, or at least I kind of stutter on it and whatever. And yeah, I've actually already gotten all silver medals. Like, I got all silver medals as of now, but I still have yet to get all gold medals. But I don't see myself getting all gold medals anytime soon. I mean, it's quite a repetitive process. And now that I'm doing more gaming on my PC, you know, I played Sonic Mania on the PS4, and I don't really feel like downloading Sonic Mania again. Like, maybe after I completely 100% it on the PlayStation 4, I might download it on Steam and play Sonic Mania on Steam, and hopefully I can get all gold medals within this, but this is just not fun, honestly. It's not fun getting these gold medals. And yet, for some reason, people say it is, and it's just not. The Blue Sphere stages are not fun at all. They're just a gimmick that's there and something for you to do. Like, here's an example. Ukulele. It was pretty much mixed, and I can definitely see why it was mixed. Like, consider the rest of Sonic Mania, like, you know, the main gameplay of Ukulele. But when you play Retro's, or Rex, Retro, or whatever that character's name is, arcade game, the arcade games are, like, broken and kind of just not fun and extremely difficult. And that's pretty much how I see the Blue Sphere stages. They're not fun, needlessly difficult and whatever, and most of the times just unfair in a way. Anyway, so now I go to my number 2 point, the unfair moments. And I don't think anybody argued against any of these, at least not from what I remember. In fact, I think the only thing that people seem to comment about is pretty much the whole, you know, you're pronouncing Monarch wrong. Unfortunately, that seems to be my number one most received comment throughout the entire thing. Other than that, it's pretty much like those Sonic fans are like, get good, this is all just bad skills and whatever. And no, it's not bad skills, guys. And first of all, anything that you see me doing bad skills, again, is a first playthrough. You're not gonna gain skills at, you know, your first time playing something, you freaking idiots. And, you know, I hate people that constantly have to think that. And definitely the one person who satirized it best was Pro ZD. It's in a video called When You Rant a bad part in the game or a hard part in the game. And, you know, people are like, get good. Was Poop Dragon supposed to be hard? Get good. I beat it in one try. Anybody who says that they beat in the Phantom Cannon run try are definitely a bunch of freaking liars. Anyway, so yeah, this, I did not get on recording, but I did actually, have this glitch happen to me once, and I think it's been fixed in a recent patch, but yeah, I had that happen to me, and I had to at least get it from A+ Start, Son of a Glitch, in order to showcase it. And it's such a shame that I couldn't showcase this, because for those of you who don't know, I did actually do everything from Chemical Plant all the way up to, I think it was Mirage Saloon blindly, but the whole entire footage didn't record. And what happened is that I entered into this room and Sonic didn't even show up here, so therefore the game itself soft-locked. Like, I have no idea how that glitch happened or how I can recreate it again, or if it's been patched in a future patch and whatever. But yeah, that was such a weird glitch, and I wish I had that footage to show you guys that, and it really sucks. But yeah. And of course, some people say this is not a flaw because this is something that existed in the original games, which of course it did. It did exist in the original games, and I'm definitely aware of it. And yet there are some people that are denying that it didn't even exist in the original games because they want to show how much of a masterpiece this game is, which really it's not. But anyway, yeah, this is a problem that does exist in the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2 when you play through Chemical Plant. And for those who deny it, stop relying on nostalgia and blindly defending this game. This was a flaw that was in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as well, which is why I say, oh yeah, this is a classic. But yeah, that's just honestly ridiculous how easy it is to die just there. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I don't think anybody has commented about this, the poor Poland fan placement. I mean, maybe aside from the people that are all like, get good. But, you know, aside from that, even going through it, later, it was still an issue. So honestly, every time I come to this point, I always go up there to get the rain and whatever. And thankfully, it's easy to do it with any other character if you don't have Sonic just alone. So hopefully you have Sonic with the metal shield so you can get up there. Or otherwise, you have to go through this pain-in-the-ass area where I died 2 times, or got a game over 2 times in a row. In fact, you can watch part 4 of my Let's Play to actually see it happen. And holy crap, was this part, such a freaking pain in the ass. And I don't know if anybody else has had this issue, because as I said, nobody has commented on this point. Again, maybe aside from the people that are like, good and whatever. But again, none of these flaws are about bad skill or whatever, It's about just, a game design that honestly could do some improvement and whatever. Like, it doesn't need to be easy, it just needs to be at least fair to the player. Fair enough to, like, if you get a game over, it should feel like your fault. It shouldn't feel like bad game design. And unfortunately, that is bad game design, how that's designed. And yeah, there's some people who say, they beat this in 1 try. No, you guys did not beat this in 1 try. No one beated this f***ing boss in 1 try. So if you beated this boss in 1 try, you're a goddamn liar. Or you're a freaking god to be able to do it. Because every time this goddamn Phantom King is up, it's ridiculously hard because he's surrounded by his power orbs, and when you knock into them, you can't hit them, so you get knocked back, and it's constantly throwing stuff at you, and it's really ridiculously hard to hit him. Whereas Dr. Robotnik, on the other hand, it's easy to hit him. And yet people are acting like, this boss is easy, I beat it in 1 try. If you seriously can't beat this, then you should never play Sonic Mania. Well, stick it up your ass. Unless you're gay and actually enjoy sticking things up your ass, stick a freaking knife up your ass, because screw you, you did not beat this boss in 1 try. And yeah, someone actually brought it to my attention. Like, I didn't have the footage to showcase this. I mean, as you can see, Sonic has 23 lives and whatever, and I had to use Mani. I haven't really watched the user, so I don't know how to pronounce his name. Which is a shame that he actually quit YouTube altogether because of a certain controversy and whatever. But I had to use his footage to showcase the fact that if you did get a game over in the Doomsday Zone, you could at least repeat it without having to repeat all of Titanic Monarch all over again. And yeah, as for that particular YouTuber, I haven't watched a lot of him, but it's definitely a shame that he had to cancel doing videos altogether. And apparently, I think the reason is because he did something that actually severely emotionally damaged someone or whatever. And it's such a shame that something like that had to happen. I mean, I definitely hope he does come back, but whatever happens, it's such a shame that it even had to happen to begin with. Anyway, my number 1 point, the implementation of Denuvo. And of course, some people say that this is not a problem at all. Some people have commented, Denuvo is not a problem for me, Denuvo is not a problem for me, which is great, but not the point I'm getting across. The implementation of it is not the bad point I'm addressing. It's pretty much just the overreaction to it. Now, yeah, I put the use of Denuvo with the PC port, but, it's not really the use, it's pretty much the overreaction to the implementation. But of course, since I played this on the PS4, I didn't have to deal with Denuvo personally, so I don't know if I download Mania now, I would maybe have, the problem if I tried to run it up offline or whatever, but pretty much after the first day, people were able to play it offline, so I feel sorry for whoever had to take their camping trip on the day it was finally released after having to wait for weeks for the PC port to release, while the console gamers are like, oh man, Sonic Mania is good! Did you enjoy that point where spoiler, 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 spoiler? And you're like, Siri, how do I delete all of Twitter? And all that, and, just, oh, excuse me. Almost killed my throat there. Let me just have a drink. Don't want a sore throat for 5 months again. Yeah, pretty much it's the overreaction to it that I'm talking about. And yeah, well, it could be possible that the optimization purpose is for the implementation of, Denuvo and whatever. it's still kind of controversial for, for the fact that Sega maybe had done this and for the fact that there's the quote-unquote bug where this is only playable online. Like, again, it's still a problem on Sega's part, but it's also a problem on the fan base's part as well, which is something that I address during this video. And of course, you got people on the Steam page like writing all these negative reviews like, it's a good game, but I automatically don't recommend it and it should go to hell because of an implementation of a game of a thing that's not really a feature in the main game itself. It's an overreaction, and it's something that is not really a huge issue since, people were able to make mods before the DRM was cracked, and, I think it was cracked like 8 days later or something. But yeah, the fact that people were unable to play this game while they were offline is definitely ridiculous. Like, I can understand why it's needed for some games, but yeah, it's pretty ridiculous when you need to be online in order to play a game, especially for something that, is under 2 gigabyte RAMs to run and whatever. So, yeah, it's pretty much the overreaction to it that I'm talking about and whatever. But yeah, some people's antivirus software still prevented it even after the first day and whatever. Yeah, still have yet to play that Hitman game, by the way. And yeah, the game was cracked 8 days later, and apparently I was talking to some people, and then apparently they told me who was the one who cracked it entirely, which I'm not going to say who did it, because I don't know if that fact is true or not, but yeah, I might possibly know the very person who actually cracked the game and whatever, which, wasn't really necessary whatsoever, because people can still run mods on Sonic Mania and such, but yeah, I guess once it was cracked, people are now able to play this, but it's such a shame that Denuvo has to be the main reason, the protest against this and whatever, when it's really not a big friggin' deal. I mean, it only requires a 2 gigabyte, RAM at the minimum to run the game. It's really not going to be a huge problem being able to run this game. And, you got games that take, like, a super powerful computer from 8 gigabyte RAMs or up that also have Denuvo, so why aren't those games a problem? But as soon as a Sonic game does it, it's the biggest deal ever! And the thing is that they added it again in, Sonic Forces, and yet it doesn't get bad press for whatever reason. Instead, it's pretty much how bad the game is that gets the bad press. And oh yeah, and there was a work in process SBO mod that Ninja Gaming was actually making, but apparently he canceled it, which was such a shame. I mean, definitely check the guy out because he actually did some mod showcases and such. But yeah, pretty much the overreaction to it is pretty much the main problem, not the implementation of it. But how it started off is definitely a huge issue on Sega's part. But of course, the overreaction and encouraging people to not get the game or refund the game is definitely a financial issue as well. And of course, when it comes to making products, you want people to get your game. You don't want people to encourage people to get a cracked version because then you're not getting the money. You want to get the money for, the effort that you put into, your game and whatever. You don't want people getting it for free and, That's pretty much what I'm saying, is that Sega have every right to prevent their games from being pirated, and yet people still act like it's a big deal, but don't overreact when it's implemented in other games, or even higher gigabyte RAM games, or in Sonic Forces. But instead, it has to be how badly Sonic Forces is made, like it's the worst thing in existence, worse than Sonic 06, worse than Rise of Link. No, it's not. No, it's not, guys. It's not worse. In fact, as I said, it's a polarized game. Most people found it disappointing or average. Some people downright despise it, and some people actually downright love it. I personally really liked Sonic Forces, 7 out of 10. And this game is a 9 out of 10. Problems, but, it has problems, but it's not like, the worst thing that has been, made or whatever. Because as I said, this is not a bad things countdown. It's a worst things countdown. Aspects that makes the game less appealing, at least to me, but doesn't have to be, not appealing to anybody else. I mean, you can disagree with any of these points I implement, any of these points that I talk about. Like, you can say that Oil Ocean is the worst zone, not Titanic Monarch, or you can say that, Mega Octus is the worst boss fight, not Heavy Gunner. Or you could say that you enjoy nothing but rehashed zones and whatever, and, nothing new and original and all that. And of course, some of you are asking, but you have, like, this game that rehashes old zones, but Sonic Forces technically does it too. True, but they do play it smart by only having half of the game be reimagined places and half of it be original. But not only that, Sonic Forces takes the advantage to make its world evolve by making changes, by turning Green Hill into a desert and making Chemical Plant also a spaceport, and also showing snow on the outside, which not only delivers a chilling atmosphere, but is fitting for the theme for the story they are telling. They take advantage to evolve, like, the worlds within Sonic Forces, whereas in Sonic Mania, it's pretty much just a time capsule of what it is at the time, which is why a lot of people say that this game essentially rehashes and reuses, old zones of the past, and why it's a problem to them. But of course, with Sonic Forces, yeah, they implemented, Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and, those levels again, but at least they do something new with them. They evolve the world. They show the change that has happened, as well as the effects that Dr. Eggman and the Eggman Empire in Infinite is causing the world. Like, it does have world building and whatever. Whereas Sonic Mania, it's practically like, hey, remember this place? Well, go through it again, except with some differences and all that. And, that's honestly one of the reasons why I actually like Sonic Forces reimagining the stages, is because they at least do something new with the stages and at least evolve and change the worlds. Whereas in Sonic Mania, it's essentially the same worlds, just obviously not exactly designed as from the games they originally were and whatever. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, this was a character that was going to appear in the Shadow the Hedgehog countdown that I ultimately decided not to do and instead do Sonic Mania. And now that I have Sonic Forces to worry about, I got to get the Sonic Forces review out, and then I'll do the Shadow the Hedgehog countdown and bring this character back. And FYI, I will change the mask on this character. In fact, I'm holding the mask like right here, right now, the new mask that I'm going to be using for the character. And yeah, but yeah, wearing that mask was like unbearable. Wearing that mask, I mean, it looks cool, but breathing under that is just very unbearable. Like like there's a lot of heat that builds up inside, and it's such a pain in the ass. And yeah, while I do portray the character, under the mask, I don't voice the character. The voice of the character is voiced by someone named Loaten, I think. In fact, I should have his channel link in the description down below, as well as in the countdown itself. Definitely subscribe to him and check him out. I'm not sure if he has a lot of content, but he has done reviews, and so, definitely check him out, subscribe to him, because he's definitely going to be voicing the character again when I eventually bring him back in the Sonic or Shadow the Hedgehog countdown. And yeah, as he mentions here, pretty much, the game doesn't take the advantage to be something original and whatever. It pretty much adds in references and, old zones so classic fans can bitch and moan about their pride. Now, while this is a problem that I do acknowledge, it's not really a problem to me, which is why I give it to another character to say, as opposed to me saying it. Like, it's a problem that is a problem, but not something that's a huge deal to me, so that's why I don't mention it, you know, in character and such. You know, I mention it as a different character. You know, it's definitely something that needs to be acknowledged. You know, if we want something new and original, we need something new and original, not essentially a birthday game where it's like, hey, you remember this? You remember this? Why, yes, I do remember this. In fact, I can play the original Sonic the Hedgehog game to play Green Hill again. I don't have to go through this game all over again and such. And, you know, I felt like I had to appropriately address it through another character. Like, this is a character who is obviously a psychopath, kills people, who doesn't have followers' opinions, or at least is an obnoxious as hell person, but you at least can actually see his point of view and respect it. And that's the type of character that I'm building up for the Shadow the Hedgehog countdown. And yeah, I'll talk more about this character a little later on, but yeah, I'm coming to the end of the video, guys. I'm coming to the end of the video. I have only 2 minutes left to keep talking, but yeah, I really hope you did enjoy this countdown. I mean, even though it's my 4th Sonic, like top 7 Sonic countdown, it is my 2nd most viewed video on my channel under the top 7 Sonic 06 countdown. And if you haven't seen the top 7 worst things in Rise of Lyric and top 7 best things in Rise of Lyric, definitely check those out. Just make sure you watch the worst countdown first and the best countdown second, as the best countdown is part 2 to the worst countdown. So watch the worst countdown first, then watch the best countdown, and watch all 4 again. You know, I mean, they're my 4 most popular videos, with the Sonic Mania countdown being my 2nd most popular, and definitely check out the commentaries for the first 3 countdowns. And yeah, and I also do have a blooper reel for this, by the way, which I'll also put in the description down below, or maybe have it in an end card at the end. But yeah. Anyway, so I guess you could argue that this is quite a bittersweet ending, but this is the point where I start to take my content a little more serious. Like, I ended with fluff, but then I surprisingly ended a little bit more bittersweet, and that's what I wanted to do. And some people were confusing this character, they thought his name was The Base, but that's not the name of the character, that's the name of the location he's in. And yeah, this is a shot of Vancouver and whatever, and FYI, I was actually naked, so yes, that's my actual butt crack you're seeing right there. But anyway, so why is he destroying a city? Another Sonic countdown will happen, and that's referring to the Shadow the Hedgehog countdown. Now, you know that Shadow the Hedgehog goes darker and edgier and all that, and that's what I plan to do for the Shadow the Hedgehog countdown, is that I'm going to go a little bit more adult and hardcore. Now, what is the base? What is this world called the base and whatever? And that's something that I don't want to reveal right now, but it's a concept that I think is going to be pretty interesting. And FYI, the voice of the masked figure, Loaten, definitely check him out, description down below. Masked figure was not the name of the character in the script. The character in the script is called the Dictator, and there's a reason why he's called the Dictator, which you'll see when I eventually release the Shadow the Hedgehog countdown or build up what the base is. So anyway, I got 20 minutes to end this, so thank you guys so much for watching the commentary to the top 7 worst things in Sonic Mania. So yeah, definitely, I don't have any Patreon supporters, but support me on Patreon, like me on Twitter and Facebook, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this commentary video, and I'll see you guys in the next Nits and Gamer video, and all I can say is, goodbye, and love you guys.